This will just be a quick one here. I want to talk a little bit about an update to the RODECaster Pro. A few weeks ago, I did a review of the Zoom L8, and in that review, I said one of the advantages the Zoom had over the RODECaster Pro was the ability to be powered by battery. Now, when I did my original review of the RODECaster Pro earlier last year, 2019, that was one of the criticisms I had of the RODECaster Pro. Now, that isn't going to be a problem for most people, but for some people it might be, and so I felt like I needed to list that. The nice thing is that Rode has listened, and in fact, they have introduced a new set of items that will help you to accomplish a number of things, including power via battery. Let's take a look. Now, the first thing, actually, I have on here, this is a deck saver. Actually, this is another thing. I don't think I've ever talked about this. So there's a company called Deck Saver. They make these covers for mixing boards and things of that nature. They've also made one for the RODECaster Pro. So I'll put a link down below if you're interested in that. It's a pretty solid piece of material. It's not just a plastic that'll break really easily. It's held up really well, and it just provides a little bit of protection. Now, most importantly, Rode has provided for a limited time, a little kit they call the Accessory Pack. And this has a variety of things in it. The number one and most important thing is that it has this adapter here. On one end, you have a USB-A connector, and on the other end, you have a power connector for the RODECaster. So we can just run this right in here. Now, it has a little box here because, of course, USB is providing a different voltage than is needed. So the RODECaster Pro needs 12 volt, 1 amp. And USB typically supplies 5 volts, and then the current can differ depending on what you plug it into. And so as part of this accessory kit, now I'll talk about more about the accessory kit. Unfortunately, it looks like it's going away on the 29th, which is like 2 days from when I'm recording this thing. I just found out about it recently, and they just sent this over. So they have provided a USB battery that actually supplies the amount of current that's needed. So it's 5 volts and then 2.4 amps. So in theory, at least, any USB battery bank that is able to supply that current, and that's actually going to be the trick. A lot of the older ones won't supply a current that big, and it needs to be generally one of the bigger batteries that can provide that level of current. It can actually convert that over to 12 volts, 1 amp. So this one here, for example, which comes with the kit, and incidentally, the kit's only $20. So if you have a RODECaster that you've purchased between November 2019 through February 29th, 2020, you can claim one of these packs and it'll cost you $20. And that's a great deal because the battery alone is worth, I think, about $60 on Amazon. So, and then you get all these other things that we're going to talk about. Most importantly, this adapter cable. So we can just now, you can see here, power up the RODECaster Pro using a USB battery. Now, incidentally, what's interesting about this battery, and I actually just ran it out because I was testing how long it would last. We've only got 1 dot left, so I'm not going to leave this on, is that it lasts for 8 hours and 46 minutes in my test. And that was a test where we had it recording the entire time. We were phantom powering 1 microphone. So your time's going to vary, of course. If you're phantom powering all 4 microphones, it's not going to be quite as long. But that's a pretty respectable time. And if you can't, I mean, I guess if you're going to go on the road to some rural area where you may not have access to AC power, that's what I got with 1 battery. So you're going to need to bring that down a little bit and do your own tests if you're going to phantom power all 4. But that's a really good amount of time to get from a USB battery like that. So that is really cool. So that's the most important piece of the kit. And incidentally, a little birdie has told me that they will be making this available for purchase as well. So this is the most important thing in the kit from my point of view. Then, of course, you can add your own USB battery if you need to do that. Now, in addition to the battery itself, which again retails for about $60 US, plus the adapter cable here, it also comes with a USB-C to USB-C cable. So that comes along with the battery itself, so you can power other USB-C items. And then it also comes with a couple of different USB-A to USB micro. This is, again, for charging it up. One's a little bit longer than the other. So when you need to charge your battery, you'll use those. In addition to that, one of the things that's important to have is a 3.5 millimeter TRRS cable. So if you're going to connect your mobile phone directly to the RODECaster, which is probably a good idea. Usually, I think you can probably potentially maximize your audio quality if you're going to bring in a phone call. And the phone calls are tricky because the phone signal itself isn't necessarily amazing. And even if you do have a really good strong signal in terms of your cellular coverage or Wi-Fi, the quality of the audio coming in over your phone is typically not that great, but this will also just ensure you get the best out of that somewhat potentially mediocre audio quality. So cable is not a bad thing to have, and this allows you to connect that up. And then finally also that I got in the kit was 3.5 millimeter to 1/4 inch adapters for headphones. So if you have headphones that only have a 3.5 millimeter connector, you can use this to get into the headphone jacks on the RODECaster Pro. Now I'm assuming that all of this came from user feedback of the kinds of things that people needed on a regular basis working with the RODECaster. So really kind of a nice kit. So if you happen to already own a RODECaster that you purchased between November 2019 and February 29th, 2020, then get over to Rode. I'll put the link actually below where you can claim your accessory pack. It will cost you $20 US to get it shipped out to you, but I think it's easily worth that based on what you're getting. So I'm really happy to see that Rode is listening to customers and taking the criticism, the constructive criticism that we give them very seriously and improving their products as a result. So just wanted to give you that quick update. Hope that was helpful for you. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave those down below. And if you have not already subscribed, make sure you do that. And we'll be sure to get you more great videos on how to improve your lighting and sound for video. Talk to you soon.